A real Celtic talk show by real Celtic fans from the Carluke Shamrock Supporters Club on Hail Hail Media.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, 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 tock.
Hail, hail, and welcome to TikTok with the Carluke Shamrock Celtic Supporters Club. My name is Richard, and this session is being recorded on the 11th of March 2015. Now, from the club, first of all, I am joined by
Michael.
Good man, hello Michael. Can you tell the listeners the salubrious surroundings that we're in for this podcast?
Well, we're in the what do you call it? The Tommy Burns Lounge.
Tommy Burns Lounge.
In London Road's Celtic Supporters Club.
Yes.
And I'm actually taken aback with the place. The decor is absolutely fantastic.
Definitely.
Looks great. Tommy Burns, obviously my hero, so you'll get me greeting here.
Oh,
so
he's
don't
away.
start me that. But no, we're in here and looking forward to the podcast.
Yes, I'm amazed they actually let us back in since the last time we were in. But we are here, joined by four legends, I'm going to build these up, from the highly influential, almost world-renowned, certainly getting there, Kano Foundation. So, listeners, we have
John Paul Gilmartin,
Sarah Davenport,
Brian Ainslie,
and Joe Mackin. Fantastic. Great to have you guys. And see, for this podcast, we need to play pretend, right? We need to pretend the Carluke Shamrock does not know the Kano Foundation. We don't know about you, we don't know the history, we don't follow you on Twitter, we don't retweet your campaigns, we're not connected with you in any way, we don't have knowledge of you. And the reason I want to do that is I want to capture the Kano Foundation story for every single possible fan that will be listening to it. Because you know what it's like. You'll get fans who are their own Twitter every 5 minutes. You get guys who go to every single game home and away and know things inside out. Then you start to spread a bit further. And there's boys down in England, and they come up the odd time, and then you go further, California, Tokyo, Taiwan, and these guys get to know the score, maybe read a wee blog now and again, but not really connected. And I want to make sure we capture it for everybody. So I'm going to pretend I don't know the ins and outs, and we'll get every single part of your story to make sure all these guys are clued up, because what yous are and what yous do for Celtic is just phenomenal. And I don't want to miss out any bits with wee daft assumptions and stuff, okie dokie. So, first up, I'm going to take you back to the start and go right the way through the full timeline, just as you would do with any kind of story. But before I ask about the origins, somebody has to do the elevator pitch, right? As the Americans call it. In other words, what is the Kano Foundation? What does the Kano Foundation do? That kind of thing, right? So, Joe, if you were on holiday and you were around the pool and you got chatting to some guys, maybe they're from England, oh, I'm West Ham, I'm so-and-so, oh, brilliant, I'm Celtic, oh, it's fantastic. And you get the crack, but you'll get to that point eventually where you'll say, and I also do this Kano Foundation thing as well as part of my Celtic supporting activities. And they go, what's that? Sell it to me. How do you describe it to somebody who doesn't know?
No pressure.
No pressure.
everybody just sees it as taking kids to football.
Taking kids to football, right.
Obviously there's a lot more in the background towards that, but taking kids to football is what we do.
Right.
If somebody's in need to go to the football, groups want to go to the football, then we find a way of doing it.
Right.
So that's basically the day.
You are actually taking them, because there's kids on our bus that'll go, but they pay.
Yes.
And their mums and dad pays and stuff, but you guys as a charity, you actually take them
we
and
actually
fund that whole thing. Aye.
We don't fund their travel.
Yes.
We have 84 season tickets at Celtic Park.
Right.
72 of them are kids.
Right.
So there's a big scope for community centres and aftercare schools,
that kind of stuff.
things like that, to go to the football.
Brilliant.
So
and how long are we talking? How long did we kick off?
it was 5 years ago,
5 years ago.
June.
Right.
So it's our 5th anniversary.
Brilliant. So, John Paul, we need to start the story then. That's what you do now.
John Paul did start it.
There we go, perfect. This is the perfect scenario. So, the origins, sad, inspiring, a wee bit of everything, I think, but if you to tell someone who didn't know the story, how would you describe the origins of the foundation?
It's a story that I feel as though I've got to try and improve each time, but you end up, it's easier just actually telling it as I've told it sort of various times before.
Right.
A Celtic blogger by the name of Martin Kane, who was known as Kano online, was one of the most argumentative sods you could get on the blog. Always stood his ground, always fought his corner, and always acknowledged if the other person won the argument.
Ah, right.
Perfect guy to argue with, as long as you were winning. And he posted on CQN regularly for a good few years. And then all of a sudden, back in, I think it was late 2008, word came through that he'd been struck down by this mystery illness, as it was at the time. Turned out it was something called Devick's disease, and it resulted in him, within the space of a week, becoming almost completely incapacitated, confined to a wheelchair, and completely dependent on basically medical support, and was no longer capable of doing anything for himself. That struck a chord with a lot of the guys online, and the initial intention was to have Martin's home adapted to allow him to get out of hospital and get back to his family. So basically various bloggers on CQN started raising funds, doing various activities, running barefoot, climbing Ben Nevis, running marathons, cycling, anything they could think of to raise funds. Joe was involved in that in the early stages as part of the Bringing Martin Home campaign.
Right.
So that...
And was there a target?
The target was to get Martin home.
Right, that was it. What was the kind of benchmark to do that? Was there a monetary value?
They set a figure of approximately £60,000.
68 or something, isn't it?
68,
Yeah,
60, right.
something in that.
Is this in Australia?
This is in Australia. Martin was based in Australia,
Yeah.
and everybody heard bringing Martin home, and they thought it was bringing him back to Scotland, but it wasn't. It was bringing him out of hospital and getting him back to his family in Australia, in Perth. So it culminated, it went through the whole year, and it culminated in November 2009 with a race night in the Kerrydale Suite, Celtic Park.
Right.
And in the course of that night, they raised something like £18,000. They completely smashed their target.
Brilliant.
They even raised enough to allow Martin to get an adapted vehicle and allow the family to then actually take him out, not just get him home, but then
New software as well, so we could communicate.
Yeah.
Ah, right, that's right, okay.
Go towards a semblance of normal, as much as you can have a normal life in that situation.
Sure.
And that was, and everybody, November 2009. He was home for Christmas.
Brilliant.
2009.
Brilliant.
Just after his birthday. His birthday was in December, and everybody thought, that's it. We've got home. We've achieved what we tried to do.
Did you meet him at that point as well?
Never.
And had you met him before?
No, never met him. Never met
just
him
a
before.
name, just text.
Been roasted by him a few times online. That was about it. I just caught in the crossfire. A couple of blog hits. But
shows you the power of Celtic family, doesn't it?
That's it. Nobody.
Yeah.
One of the guys, one of the early founders, Mark Kingsman, is a cousin of Martin's, and there was various other friends, Raimi, etc., who were all involved in the early days, and that took us. We then went through from November 2009 into June 2010, and we had just been on the back of. We hadn't won the title for 3 years.
Did you have to bring that up?
Well,
I mean, the story was sad enough.
Yeah.
Come on.
You have to get context here because it's relevant to how we came about.
Sure.
All of a sudden, Celtic were looking they were looking for angles to try and get the fans back in.
Right.
They introduced the £50 season book at that time. A couple of things, we were able to move quite easily within the ground. It was obvious that season book uptake wasn't where it should be.
Sure.
And people were offering to buy tickets for other people. It was the start of the whole going to give a lift over Mr. Camp idea. And Joe and I got talking about it. We had a meeting early June.
Right.
And we got talking about it and thought we could maybe set it up and have maybe 15 season tickets. Take a football team, like half a class, that type of thing. That was where we envisaged it. We knew that the whole idea, the days of giving somebody a lift over and just getting them into the ground were gone.
Sure.
Health and safety, all-seater stadia, it was no longer possible to do that.
Those were different.
Yeah. So we had to look at formalising the nature that, how we did it. And it's the one thing that I think I'm proud of in terms of how we started the way we wanted to continue from the very, very first meeting we had.
Right.
We knew we had to get it right from the word go. and we went in with a view to buying, as I say, about 15 season books. And we walked out of a meeting from Celtic and we bought 50. And we were sitting there going, how are we going to pay for this?
What season was that?
That was 2010, 2011.
Brilliant.
But we didn't have any money. He bought the season tickets.
So you've got the books.
He bought the season tickets.
You've kind of done this backwards, aye?
We had to go and try and arrange dances and things to try and get him his money back.
This is things that you
Oh
want
my
to hear
God.
and realise, because a lot
Totally.
of people didn't realise that you'd never met the guy, and you know, and this is where it all started. And,
Aye.
and interaction is brilliant. You know,
We had to go
you
to
feel for it.
Celtic. We had to go to Celtic and try and get a plan, a payment plan.
Ah, right,
So,
okay.
say Celtic was due money in August, end of August, we had to have a dance in August to try and pay some of that payment. And the last payment was November, wasn't it? And we had a race night at the end of November,
coincide.
so we could pay Celtic the last instalment of the season tickets. So
Oh
that's
my
just
goodness.
at the start. We didn't know what we were doing. We
Yeah.
hadn't a clue what we were doing, didn't we?
No.
We were meeting every
Just
Monday.
goes arms and legs.
Aye,
Really.
but as John Paul said, we've always done it right. Proper.
Right.
We've always try to get charity status. It was absolute nightmare, wasn't it? With all sorts of lawyers involved,
Jumping through the hoops.
just the way they were wording it.
Yeah.
We weren't happy with the wording. They were telling us you've got to word it like this, and
Yep, gotcha. Aye, because I suppose there'll be things that start to limit you. And if you put this in your charity status,
Yes.
no, we want to be able to such and such,
Aye.
and you're trying to
And you're
kind
trying
of
to
look
advise-
forward.
try to advice for the lawyers, and you're trying to think how the Celtic fans would look on it and things like that.
Yeah. So who are we talking at that stage? And you're yourself, you've got Joe, it was Mark involved at that stage, the cousin.
Mark Kingsman,
He's there.
Mark Martin,
Mark Martin as well.
Gordon Johnson, and
Right. These are the guys that are meeting all the time.
Tony Riley and Gillian Lindsay.
Right.
Were the,
Okie dokes.
we were the ones that were involved in the start.
Right.
Fairly quickly, Mark, Gordon, and Tony dropped out through various family commitments, work commitments, etc. And we ended up with Joe, myself, Mark, and Gillian going forward.
Right, okay, dokes. Tell me this, you mentioned Mark himself, Kano, let's call him, and he's on CQA and everybody knows him and the arguments back and forth, and that's brilliant fun. How does the word start to drip through that there's a problem? Was he able to vocalise what was happening before a big sharp decline?
No.
Did it go quiet?
Basically, it went. The first we were aware was Raimi, his best pal, who'd got in touch back with everyone back in Scotland, and started it in Pablo Fank, Steve Reynolds, who sadly died a couple of years ago. He was involved early doors as well.
Right.
A guy called Old Tim on CQN was involved as well. I'm going to miss some people out, so I'll apologise
Sure.
in advance because I wasn't involved in the Bringing Mark Home campaign.
Gotcha.
We only started the Kano Foundation afterwards.
Right.
Primarily and the name was taken as a tribute to not just to Martin but to the Celtic movement and the way we do come together for the family.
We did raise money for Martin.
We thought that was sort of quite evocative of the way that, you know, that people that had never met the guy before in their life were. Vinnie Martin was running a 10k in bare feet. Never met the guy, but he did that just to raise money. Guys cycling to doing the Glasgow Edinburgh cycle. Again, had never met the guy because he'd been in Australia for years. So it was only family and friends back in Scotland that knew him and that had ever met him, but it didn't stop people.
So a lot of Celtic fans knew the name, Kano.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of the reason we kept it going.
Fantastic. And Sarah, for yourself, how did you get dragged into this? Did you hear that tale from someone?
Not quite.
No?
So I ended up hearing about the Kano Foundation through Hail Hail Media Homeboys podcast.
Oh no! Oh, did you have to? Did you have to mention them? You've cursed this podcast.
Sorry,
Jason's
sorry.
smiling now, can you?
Hey, his name is guaranteed to come up.
You said it's a free bar at a dance.
Oh, steady. So you heard it on there?
So I
did you?
heard it on
Right.
Homeboys, and I'd actually went onto the website to donate some money.
Ah, right, okay.
But I've
We're
got
going to get right enough. But
Oh, it's post-dated a check. That's what it is. Aye.
exactly. But I've got a wee bit of sort of web updating design skills, and the website was kind of. I thought this website could do a whole lot more for what the guys are doing.
So you're the genius behind this.
I got
aren't
in
you?
touch
The
with them and said, "Oh, do you want a wee hand?" I'll come on. I can do websites and do marketing
This was
stuff
only
and
last
things.
August.
Last
Is it?
August,
Right.
yeah.
Brilliant, because it's really fresh and modern looking. I love that.
Definitely.
Let's plug the URL, which is
The KanoFoundation.com.
.com. There we go, perfect. So you were behind there, right?
So I got involved with that and got the website up and running and haven't really stopped since.
They've not let you go. So you've got the careful.
She's locked away in an attic someplace.
Release her, we need another update. Brilliant.
But it's great fun and it's
Enjoying
been
it?
great. It's been great getting involved, and I really thought it was going to be maybe a couple of months just helping them get the website up and running. But once you get involved and you see how much everybody does,
Right.
and how much work is involved, and you just need to stay about and help, because there's a lot to be done to make sure that everybody.
Was that politely saying
Glasgow.
we're shite? Was that
I
politely
don't,
saying
no,
that?
I don't think my client was meaning that. Brilliant. Now, Brian, yourself, we've got 2 points to pick with you. Let's plug the homeboys again, because where should you actually be tonight?
I should be on the Homeboys tonight, telling everyone what's going to be happening in April for the Kano Foundation, because we're presenting at a fan engagement event down in London at Lord's Cricket Ground,
Yes.
which will be quite something fantastic.
Aye, now let's jump to that, because I know I did promise a kind of storyline for front to back, fair enough, but no, I think this is a good one to segue off on. So explain what this conference is, because this is a big deal. This isn't, the Kano Foundation are going to talk at the local council. For the listeners tuning in, I mean, this is a big deal that you have been invited to, isn't it?
It all started off with Sarah going about and seeing how we could get more people to know about us.
Right.
We spoke earlier on about people, finding out about the Kano Foundation. There's people inside the stadium that come week in, week out, that don't know what we do.
Yep.
They'll maybe see the banner, they'll see Kano Foundation,
Yep.
and really until they see and look at the big screen, most folk at half-time are down in the bowels of the stadium, talking to their pals, shouting for the wind and rain,
Yes.
and they don't know what we do. And we thought, right, Sarah says, right, I think this would be ideal.
Ah, right.
And she
Where
said,
did you spot it? Sorry. We'll jump back to
I
Brian.
came across it on Twitter.
It was a Twitter thing, right?
Yeah.
You just grabbed it. You're the social media queen. You get let out of the loft.
No, well, I was
to tell the boys.
doing a bit of market research for sort of seeing how we
Right.
could get our name out into different channels to
Brilliant.
track. It was more so I was looking for routes to get more groups along. So looking for
to feed in.
yeah.
Right, perfect. Right, sorry, Brian, cut you off there. So
no,
Sarah was
that's
saying
fine.
that to you.
Sarah suggested at a meeting, I thought, no, that would be fantastic. Some of the other trustees weren't probably as ambitious as that, shall we say.
The politics are coming out now.
Might be me he's talking about.
The gloves are off.
They couldn't see what we could get out of it,
Right.
especially at how high a level
Yeah.
that it was actually pitched.
Uh-huh.
Whereas we were looking at it from a completely the opposite angle
Right.
of some of the people that were there and actually talking.
Uh-huh.
We were looking at it as that all of these fans, all of these clubs are looking how to engage and how to make money out of the fans.
Right.
We're looking at it from the completely opposite angle.
Uh-huh.
We're looking to say, this is what we do because the fans buy in to what we do.
Yep.
Because the most important thing is we've got the fans of the future. We're bringing the kids. We're giving them the option that their mothers and fathers maybe can't afford to do
That's it.
because it's too expensive now.
Yeah. Yep.
But the vast majority of Celtic support look at what we're doing and say, we want to help.
Yeah.
We want to give £1 a week. We want to give a £5 a month or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And from that, we know where exactly it's going. It's going to give a kid a day out at the football.
Yep.
And you can't buy that enjoyment that you get for the kids.
Yeah.
You can't buy that smile. I had a wee boy, Down syndrome boy. He's 45, Jason.
Right.
I've had him at 2 games now, 3 games in total now. And he comes out and just stands looking out into the empty stadium because we're in an hour before kick-off. And looks out at the empty stadium
Uh-huh.
and the enjoyment he gets out of that.
Uh-huh. 'Cause it is something to take in, especially if it's not a thing that you're used to. If it's not an environment you've seen, it's when you walk out into the bowels of that place, it's pretty impressive.
Oh,
You know,
it is. It's
something for him to see.
It's outstanding.
And you're feeding off of that yourself.
Yeah.
Aye, fantastic. Now the other thing, don't worry. The other thing about that is we want to pick you up on, and this is where we'll drop the pretence for a wee bit. You've got a Carluke connection. You've just sprung on us tonight, which has shocked us.
I was.
Wait to hear this, Michael. Wait to hear this. Wait to hear this.
I organise the bucket collection. So everybody out there, there'll be a bucket collection, first home game of next season, and it'll be the Kano, so we'll be looking for volunteers to help and assist in that up to about 10-15 minutes before kick-off, before the flag gets raised, because we'll win the league again this season.
Brilliant.
We've got to. So at the bucket collection, a person was walking towards me, and that person was married on to my cousin, guy Frankie Farrell.
Frankie.
There you go, Michael. I told you.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Farrell.
Mr. Farrell. Mr. Farrell. That's my daughter's headmaster.
Yes.
One time singer at the Celtic shows.
Allegedly.
Here, there and
We've
everywhere.
had him on our dance a few times.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic artist.
So he had a priest with him, and he was trying to explain to the priest why we were collecting. And I says, Frankie, what school are you at? He says, why is your kids not being through at one of the games? He says, Brian, I'll set up, I'll get it sorted.
Brilliant.
And funny enough, today I get an email from Gareth, one of the teachers, and I've emailed them back with all the details, and we'll hopefully get the kids in at the beginning of next season, if not towards the end of this season,
brilliant.
and hopefully
That's
work it. But you asked Joe earlier on about, how would you sell the Kano Foundation?
Aye.
That's exactly how I met Joe. I met Joe at the Vegas convention. I was over there for my 50th. And Joe's son Declan assaulted me every other day because he's that kind of wee boy, and he's really brilliant. So I took great pleasure in chucking him into the pool and stuff like that. And that took the onus away from Joe for a couple of minutes. Before he was
just get kicking the ball off your dick.
Yeah.
Stop that wee man.
But Joe was hanging the Kano Foundation banner up at the side, and I went, Joe, that's squinty. What's it all about? And I knew about Martin Kane,
right?
Because I'd put money in for the bucket collection, but that was all. And then Joe explained what the Kano Foundation was all about. I went, that's brilliant. And we were at a couple of tables of 12 people at the dance. Then there was a couple other tables, including the Lord Lieutenant of Scotland at the time, who was the ex-Lord Provost, Alec Mawson. And we decided that we would collect some money. And we spoke to the North American supporters and a couple of their tables, and he says, that's a great idea, yeah, we'll collect some money.
Brilliant.
And we went round the tables, and I spoke to Alec Mawson. I says, Alec, you get the money there? And Alec said, give it to my brother-in-law. Has he no gave you the money? I went, Alec, I've not got any money. He's no gave me anything. Alec Mawson was chasing me around that Vegas convention hall, trying to give me money. And I'm going to other tables. Joe didn't have a clue about what was happening.
Is that right?
And at the end of it, Joe had came to me and says, you know a couple of players and where they're sitting? I says, I know where they are. So there was likes of Joe McBride and a couple of other legends that were there. Unfortunately, Joe's not with us anymore. Went round, got them to sign stuff on behalf of the Kano, done it without any problems. And then Joe got called up onto the stage and presented with $3,500.
Come on, from hanging a banner up. I bet you're glad you did that now, eh?
But that's the power of the Kano.
Yeah.
Because everybody buys into what we actually do.
That's it.
And to then get the kids, and the best laugh I've had this season has been cheerleading them.
Is it?
Because there's been a couple of times we've had kids from Dublin, kids from Belfast. We've had them down at the Europa trophy that was down at the ticket office. I says, how do we get them down from the front of the stadium down to there? I says, right, Pied Piper. And sang all the way down the Celtic way and round the corner and back up again. Took them down the tunnel because the director's box was full of the hoity-toity getting their champagne reception.
That's Michael and his pals.
But they allowed us down the tunnel, so we got them all into the dugout. And usual thing for me is now, you're in the stadium, you have to be really quiet. And they all looked at me, I went, you don't make as much noise as you want. How much noise are they going to make? what are you going to shout?
Brilliant.
And all of a sudden, all we seen was all the curtains opening to see. We're an hour before kick-off. What in goodness name's happening down there?
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
50 Wayne's getting arrested.
That's right, the focus crew. Right, that must be the Green Brigade coming in early. Let's get them. That's brilliant. Right, let's break off a wee bit from Kano, and I want to talk Celtic, because we know about your connections into Kano. Joe, for yourself, what's connected you in the past to Celtic? Is that a family thing? Is it a
Basically
childhood
family,
thing?
aye. Family's just always been Celtic, aye.
Aye.
Between family.
Just father to son, all the way down to your good self.
Mother to auntie.
Aye, the lot.
Aye. Everybody, aye.
Uh-huh.
So,
Remember your first game?
first game, I think it was 76, 77 against Motherwell.
Right.
I think they won 2-0, I'm not sure, but I think they won 2-0.
Nice one.
Used to just come down, had feasters, come down the bus feasters, so it was like a day out for me.
Brilliant.
And you go to the corner of Parkey Cross and see that stadium. Oh, it's just brilliant.
That's a lucky thing you have.
Especially night-time games, that's one of my memories.
Oh, of
Just
course,
seeing the
floodlights. Aye, brilliant.
Around the corner and seeing the floodlights. I used to have a bus park there where bars was.
Right, okay.
Right,
I used to have to walk through all the buses. That's where I got my lift there. Stand there in the hospital for a lift there.
You started the Kano Foundation in 76 in reverse. Favourite player?
Daniel Green.
Oh, just like that. Just like that. Brilliant.
Always, aye.
John Paul, your connection to Celtic?
It's a double connection. I grew up in Dumbarton.
Right.
So when I was growing up, Dumbarton were always my wee team, and they were always in the old second division.
Right.
Celtic were my big team, and they were always. At that time, I was born in '64, so I sort of went through the whole 9 in a row. I was 10 before Celtic didn't win the league, as far as I was concerned.
Right.
So they were my big team, and my first game was at Boghead, the old Boghead.
Oh.
Was Celtic against Dumbarton. I think
Jeez,
it finished 6-1, and I danced out the ground because, as far as I was concerned, I wasn't losing that day.
Exactly.
So and it was just.
And did you ditch the wee team at
fantastic
that
day.
point? Was that you? No, you hung on to the rocks, did
I've
you?
always kept it as a son of the rock.
Brilliant.
You can't lose that either. But, family for Celtic, sort of upbringing for Dumbarton.
Excellent. And your favourite player?
Favourite player, like Michael, Tommy Burns.
Tommy Burns. Brilliant.
Yes.
Sarah, the hoops, the green and white. What dragged you in?
My dad.
Dad.
Very
That was
much
Dad's
my
fault.
dad. Aye.
Aye.
So I can't remember not have been interested in Celtic or not having a Celtic strip sort of. No, you're wearing that, and we're going to sit and we're going to watch the football, and you're going to learn these songs.
Put the dolls away.
Do you know that song yet? Do you know that song yet? Right. Okay. So that's all I can remember is just always supporting Celtic, and
Brilliant.
even going from I was maybe 7 or 8, my dad would lift me over the turnstile as well, going into the jungle and stuff.
See, he's Kano folk, what do you like? Always looking for a freebie. Now, not your first game, but your favourite game.
Favourite game was when we stopped the 9 in a row.
Brilliant.
That was the first time I can remember Celtic winning the league after watching them for so many years.
Oh, got a shiver.
I was so were I. I was 14. 14 or 15.
Listeners can't tell what age you are.
So, no, that game was just unbelievable, especially what had happened the week before. And you kind of thought, is it ever going to happen? But no, that was
exactly.
That was my favourite game ever. I don't think anything can top that, really.
Brilliant. And the player?
Would need to be Paul McStay.
Oh, the maestro, who's just through in the next lounge in a magnificent Technicolor.
If it was here in person, I'd be off.
By the great Celtic canvas, he's looking glorious, so he is. Brian, another man looking glorious. Tell us your story.
My story is that I'm originally from Motherwell.
Right, sorry to
but
hear
don't,
that.
But don't hold that against me. And I wasn't allowed to go to Celtic games because although my father went to the horse racing with Jock Steen and various Celtic reserve players, I wasn't allowed down that road.
Right.
However, he took me to the last game that the Lions ever played against Clyde.
Oh, wait a minute.
The only Lion that didn't play that day was Ronnie Simpson.
Seriously?
Yeah. And I think it was 7-0 we ended up winning.
Who's the goals?
John Fallon.
Oh my goodness.
We had the privilege of sharing a couple of pints with in over in Vegas, and I couldn't believe the size of his paws.
Thank God you finished that with boys there. Honest to God, I was getting sweats here. Right, good man. So you've seen those lines. So who's your favourite player then?
My favourite player is Danny McGrain.
That's Danny as well, is it?
I seen Danny scoring at Fir Park. I'm sure he scored 2 that night, and I went through YouTube. I went through everything I can possibly get, and I can't even see the fact that he's...
No, we'll bring in our pal Celtic Research. He'll find that one for us. Okay, that's for you, mate. You can run with that one. Brilliant, nice one.
Favourite game? Never televised, because they left the lens cap on the camera, and they went and strike that night.
Simple mistake.
4-2.
Simple mistake to me.
4-2. I had the privilege of meeting Johnny Doyle's daughter Joanna about 2 months ago, and gave her a framed poem about Johnny from good friend Jim Ward of the Kano Foundation. He does Celtic verses, and he'd got that, and we presented Joanna with that, and she's now got that.
Fantastic.
So yeah, but 4-2 game, outstanding.
That's for you. Aye,
definite. I mean, the 6-2 game was up there, stopping the 10 up there, but
there's a few.
4-2 game, anything against the dead team.
I'm glad you said that, because I thought you were talking about 7-1 and 57.
See, taking advantage again, it's just an audio podcast. That's shocking.
Juggler again.
Old Brian. Michael, did you want to throw in your connection while you're here?
I'm originally from Belfast, and my mum and dad split when I was young, 8-year-old, and moved to Scotland. And like yourself, I wasn't allowed to go to football, but I'd been to loads of games with my dad, and always seen it the Aberdeen games he picked. He used to go for Belfast and take me 3-4 times a year, and it would be Aberdeen.
Did he like sheep?
No, but he just...
Don't answer that.
He used to stand in the jungle at the same bit and that, and the abuse. It was there the time that Strachan got hit, remember?
Aye.
Aye. So, but contrary to what you were saying earlier, Richard, I don't sit in the director's box. I actually sit in Block 405. I've seen John Paul at a few games. We help out with the flag and stuff as well for the Kano. But a wee story that relates quite nicely to the Kano is from Carluke. My mum, going to the football, you're too young, blah blah blah. So this particular day I had a paper round, saved up the money, jumped in the bus. And Richard, you'll know this story. Jumped in the bus, head over to Hamilton. Said they were playing Accies that day, and I remember seeing this old guy outside with a season ticket, right, for an Accies end. And I says, mate, can I get your ticket? He says, aye. Much as it, oh son, looks as if you don't get any money, on you go. So he got me in, and I managed to blag my way into Celtic end.
Brilliant.
Right? Mark McGee scored 4 goals that day, right? But the funniest thing about that whole game was, I seen a guy get lifted that day who turned out to be an absolute celebrity in the Accies circle, was Fergie. Remember Fergie? And I was going through my head, is this what fit was all about? And you see this guy Fergie getting handcuffed, the Celtic fans shouted at him. But I never told my mum for years later that I'd actually went to that game. I think I was 13 or something, or whatever,
Right.
And I thought to myself, when I see you guys doing for the kids and what it stands for, and I was ignorant to it a few years ago as well, and obviously we go to dance now, which is coming up.
So where did you see Kano? Is it Twitter? Is it online? Is it a fan?
No,
is it
more
a scarf?
I was at a Celtic CQN golf day.
Right, okay.
We spoke about it then,
right,
and I seen the banner, and through guys in our club.
Right.
BJ Mack spoke about it and stuff like that as well. He was into it. And obviously the banner's right in front of us, next to our flag at Celtic Park, and it's absolutely great to talk about it and then you can have these guys in our company.
See what you're talking about there though, your first game. Everybody can remember the first game, and that's how people get it. They remember, they reminisce, they get a feeling.
I see what you're saying,
they get a feeling about going to the first game, and that's how they get it. You're asking me earlier on to explain it. That is it in a nutshell.
Correct. Perfect.
And you're capturing that moment for them.
So do you want to re-record it again now?
Right. So here we are.
This session's getting recorded.
My name's Richard.
See, get back to what you were saying there, Joe. Right, and Brian, you were saying there about going to staff needs to school, right? There'll be kids there potentially who have got parents who have got money, parents who don't have money. It's not a sort of given that's going to be underprivileged. You know what I mean? That's the thing, and that's the key to it. And what I was meaning by that was that they're our future. Like our club, Carluke Shamrock, we sit with, don't quote me this exact figure, but say we've got 45 on the bus, I guarantee 15 of them will be kids. That's the future of our club. You know, that ratio. And it's the same with Celtic Park when you see they put the £50 season ticket. You know, we've got a guy in our bus, a young laddie, sorry, and he goes in the bus, wee Danny Ferry. His parents don't go. He goes with £50 season ticket. Now he comes along, he's a juvenile, but we look after him. He goes in the bus, he sits beside us, you know, if we're in here, he'll come in here and whatever else. He's well looked after. So we're doing it at a sort of similar scale. But you guys have taken it to another level, which is fantastic.
I think the one thing that the Kano Foundation does as well is that we don't ask a kid who they support.
Oh, right.
Oh, brilliant.
They can support any team. And we have had supporters of other teams.
Just everybody,
Along from the Green Brigade, jumping up and down when their team scores.
Brilliant.
And nobody bats an eyelid. Because they're down there to enjoy their first game of football, courtesy of the Celtic
We had a
support.
group of kids from Aberdeen when Celtic beat Aberdeen 9-0.
Oh, jeez, oh.
And they were sitting right behind that goal. Don't get me wrong, the wee Janet that brought them down, he was big sick. His face was struggling.
We'll be back.
But the kids had a great day.
Oh, fantastic.
The Aberdeen fans in the bus put their coats over their heads and slept in coats the whole way back up the road.
And the wee Janet with a bottle of whiskey.
Just to keep them sweet. Bring them back.
I know, we were us chan for 10-0 that day, we won 10.
Right, let's jump back into the Kano world then. So you just quickly grabbed the day there, you know, the Aberdeen, right? So pretend I've got a youth club, I'm on board, I've done the application process, which I'll come to you later on. I'm in there, I've hooked up for a day. How does my day unfold for me?
Your day unfolds, if it's a 3 o'clock kick-off, say, we'll meet maybe an hour and a half before the game.
Right.
We did meet behind the Lisbon Lions by the Green Brigade corner.
Right.
We've now moved round to the top of the Celtic Way. So we're basically right at the players' car park, Fancy car park there we walk. We meet right there. So we get some players coming out as they're walking in.
Ah, nice one.
We'll meet there maybe an hour and a half. Brian will do his mad chanting and
the piper
routine.
Brilliant.
We take him round to the back of the Lisbon Lions. They go in and there's like a family section, so there's the PlayStations or Xboxes lined up there.
Fantastic.
We get them all through the turnstile. We show them their seats, show them the toilets. Let the way inside, because normally they'll have like a face painter or whatever.
Right.
We give them a bag with crisps, juice, sweets. We give them a £2.50 voucher for food once they're in the stadium.
We're getting great sign language here.
Every kid gets a scarf and a wristband.
Joe, what kind of scarf do they get?
It's not an Aberdeen one. That's fantastic.
It's a Kano scarf.
It's a Kano scarf.
It's a real Kano scarf.
It's a Kano scarf.
And it's got that iconic logo on it as well.
Both sides, yes.
Brilliant. Now, is that, was it Cartuha who did that? Is that right? Am I right enough thinking that? Aye, good, a good friend of the club as well.
A lot of respect for Stephen. Stephen, to give him his full credit, he's actually responsible for the name, the Kano Foundation.
Is he?
Yes.
Ah, really?
We went through various names at the start.
Right.
A huddle for Martin, a huddle for Kano, various different options, and he came up with the Kano Foundation, and I think there was another one, the Kano Trust or something like that. He came up with at the start,
right?
And we battered the ideas of the names backwards and forwards for a few weeks.
Gotcha.
And we liked the idea of the foundation being, you know, a base, a structure to build something. You know, it sounds a bit arsey now talking about it.
That's why we went for it.
That's why. That's
why he chose it.
But that was the idea behind that. So Cartuya gets he has to get a lot of credit. He's responsible for the artwork, which is actually copyrighted. He gave us the copyright to it as well.
The logo's actually
if you look at the logo and sort of on Brian's not inconsiderable chest there,
a different colour.
Ample
it's
chest.
actually one of the corners of it is actually the shape of a heart.
Yes.
It's actually 4 hearts together with a Celtic knot
sort of
around them.
Well,
somebody doesn't know it now, but it's
this is a story we want to know.
And one of them has always been a different colour to the other 3, in order to symbolise that heart, the hearts.
Because the fan is a beating heart of Celtic, and so is the Kano Foundation.
Fantastic. That's brilliant.
And that was he's all these things that we can now point to being part of what the Kano Foundation means to us and to all the fans.
Aye.
That all originates from him and his ideas behind how he thought we should, the image he thought we should have.
Excellent.
So, cyber capped off to him, definitely.
Absolutely, he's a clever cookie, that's for sure. So, Sarah, if that's the day that unfolds, are we talking a nightmare of logistics and planning and fighting over who's going and how it's going to work from the inside, from behind the scenes?
Normally you fight over if it's going to be a dry day or a wet day. 'Cause some days when it's a wet day, it can be. When you're sitting right behind the goal, you do get soaked. But the kids don't care. The kids don't care one bit. It's right behind the goal.
Right.
No, everybody takes turns to do the matches. There's normally
So you've got a rota system.
There's normally 2 or 3 of us that'll go along. Pat, who isn't here tonight, he takes care of quite a lot of the logistics, organising the groups and telling them where to meet up and getting everybody through the turnstiles and everything and making sure we don't lose any season cards, which can be quite difficult when you've got like 70 excited kids all just wanting to get in and see it, and you're trying to get season books and make sure you don't lose anybody. But once they come through, well, obviously you've got Brian winding them all up outside the stadium, and then they come through, and for some of them, once they get into the stadium, you can just see it on their face that they're just completely wrapped up, and because they don't know what's going to happen next, and it's just pure excitement that you can see on their face, and it's really excellent.
Outstanding. And Brian, behind you as well, you've got patrons, some famous faces helping you out through the years as well. What can you tell us there?
I think we're really, really lucky with the patrons that we've got. We've got obviously Henrik, but unfortunately every time Joe tries to contact him, he sends him a virus.
What you're joking?
It's just one of these things, you know. But we're lucky in that a lot of the people that we've actually spoken to buy in as well. The late Martin was one of our patrons.
Himself, yeah.
So we had him. We originally had the launch from David Heyman, but he's involved in his other ventures, Spirit Aid and all the rest, so he can't devote any time. But what we've got is one of the best captains we've ever had, in Tom Boyd. We've got one of the best snooker players ever, in John Higgins.
Yes.
And that's what you look at. You look at who are the people that in our generation we're growing up with, to look at and see and maybe show to the kids, look, take a wee bit out of their books and say, you can do this. There's folk that can influence you. Yeah. Because John Higgins used to go in the Cross Keys bus in Wishaw. Yep. He used to go with my cousin and her pals, and they'll be at the Kano dance. And that's what you're looking at. You're looking at somebody that's came from our background, because that's all we've ever done. We're Celtic supporters.
Yep.
And that's all we've ever wanted. Get that and influence the kids that are coming up. Show them a good influence. Which is the most important thing. Yeah.
A good everything about
and that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
I mean, we had one of the kids come over from Ireland, and he had a homemade poster. Fraser, give me your cheers.
Just a whiteboard.
Was it?
And all his other pals were slagging him. And half time, Fraser used to come early.
Right.
So you got black inky and wrote on this, can I get your gloves or your shirt? He just stood and held it up. And all his pals were slagging him. At the end of the game, he came here, took his shirt off and threw it to the wee boy.
Oh, get in!
His pals lifted him out the stadium, carried him out the stadium.
The hero.
And by the way, the jersey was bigger than him.
Was it?
The wee boy done that himself, though, didn't he?
That's outstanding.
So that shows you the innocence. I know I'm away from the patrons, but that shows you the innocence of the whole thing for a kid. Because they come in like that. They're completely innocent, don't know what's going to happen, and then anything can happen as far as they're concerned.
Just all developed from about them.
Fantastic.
And has Celtic done well with the family setup over in it? Is it quite good the way they've done it?
Aye, it's okay.
Doing that with the PlayStations and stuff.
It's a bit tight down with the concourse, because you've got two food outlets, and you've got the PlayStations. There's a wee stage, they've put in a wee stage for the face painters and things like that. Sometimes they do like football skills.
The face painters been paid, haven't they? Aye. Just confirm that. Aye, that's okay. I was just checking. No, that sounds good.
So it's a wee bit tight, but as I say, it works. It definitely works.
And we get a visit for Hoopy.
I hope it comes round.
Superb. That'll get them going.
My favourite ever dog.
Brilliant. Right, John Paul, I'm sorry to give you the sad part again, because you gave us the sad origins, but Brian picked up the point there that Martin was a patron.
Yes.
Past tense, sadly no longer with us.
No, unfortunately, it's a matter of sort of public record now, but Martin took ill just before Christmas last year. The family were aware of it and asked if we would respectfully keep it quiet as we went through the festive period, which we were obviously only too keen to support them with. Unfortunately, I think it was first week in January, he'd suffered a heart attack, and his body had just taken such a battering over the previous 5-6 years that he could no longer cope, and sadly he passed away. We were fortunate that Celtic gave us the opportunity. They actually gave Martin, they did him a real honour in allowing a minute's applause to be held for him. I've never heard that done for any other fan.
A fan?
In the same way, and they allowed us to read out a letter from his widow, Carolyn, actually on the park at Celtic Park to basically acknowledge the support that the family had, and the appreciation they had for both Celtic and the fans in terms of the way everyone rallied round and showed their affection and their love towards Martin and the family, all the way through his illness, but particularly at the end. It was very much appreciated by the family, and we've been moved by it and been very humbled by the reception that we've received as a result of it as well.
One of the things I'll tell you from that is that we were in here that day, and the amount of people that I heard upstairs, right, we need to go, we need to get in early, we need to get in early this game because of the minutes applause and things. And I was there when you'd done a speech as well. It was fantastic, John Paul, and the hairs in the back of your neck, everything was fantastic that day. Just to put that across as a fan's point of view, that you guys obviously
outside looking in,
was great. And I agree with you. For Celtic to allow that was phenomenal.
It's pretty special.
It was fantastic for us and all, because we've always needed the fans. We've always had the fans behind us.
Yeah.
So everybody, sounds sad saying shared it, but everybody was together in it. Do you know what I mean?
How did you take the news? I mean, when you finally did it, kind of rip a wee bit out of the foundation? Did it embolden you? Did it?
It was weird. I'd never met Martin either. Never met Martin. But a lot of people contacted me and said, sorry to hear about Martin. And I was getting that for like 3, 4, 5 days. So it's as if it's a member of my family, as if it's my brother or whatever. So it was a weird feeling. So it was just, it felt so close. I'd I'd never met Martin.
Didn't he
felt so close and
take you down in any way?
Of course he did. I did. I took his order.
Still had the energy.
We don't know. We didn't know how to react to each other. Never mind.
Is that right?
People saying to me, "I'm sorry to hear about Martin." So it's just weird.
But you kept it going, Brian. Pushed on. Give you an extra boost to try and... Is it almost a case of, do you know what, let's make it even better, or let's push his name wider, let's go for us even bigger? I
think that's the thing, because Martin's name will now live on forever. It was always going to be that way. And the fact that we could speak to the family and the family members over here, we could bring the family members to the game and sharing their sadness, but their joy as well.
Yeah.
Because you had to celebrate that life. And that was the main thing. It was a celebration of everything that was good about Celtic, everything that was good about the family, because it was the family, and everybody getting together to show their appreciation of what had happened and their sadness in that, but to say, right, let's remember him the proper way, the Celtic way.
Aye.
And that's what we have done going forward.
Absolutely.
And we'll continue to do.
Fantastic. Now, I am going to break away from the boys just now, and listeners, you're going to join me listening to a testimonial. You've heard from the guys actually behind the curtains in the Kano Foundation, but of course you want to hear it from the horse's mouth. You want to hear it from someone who's actually used the services, if you like, if you want to call it that. So we're going to go and listen to Barry McEwen from Dumbarton, funnily enough, John Paul, and he runs the St Patrick's Youth Club. So let's go and hear what he has to say.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, 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 tock.
Hi, my name's Barry McEwen. I'm one of the youth leaders for St Patrick's Youth Club in Dumbarton. We attended a game at Celtic Park in October last year, the Celtic Kilmarnock game through the Kano Foundation, and I just want to kind of talk you through our experience through the Kano Foundation and what that meant to us as a youth club and the kids that are part of the youth club. Our contact for the Kano Foundation was Pat Griffin. The actual application process was all done online. It was very straightforward. Pat got in touch with contact details and his mobile just in case there was anything that popped up. So once that was all arranged, we had organised parents to take a carload of kids through. We had 30 kids going to the game. We met outside Parkhead, met the Kano boys, all the kids get the photograph taken and a goodie bag with a scarf and a wee voucher for food and a few other bits and pieces, which was fantastic for them. So it was pouring in the rain, but they were absolutely chuffed to bits. So went into the stadium, got in and sat down at our seats. The game itself was okay. We were at our end, Guidetti scored a fantastic free kick, which was right in front of us, so that was fantastic for the kids to see that. We won the game 2-0. Skepovic scored the other goal after Pascali was sent off for Kilmarnock. But no, it was a wet day, but the kids absolutely loved it. They were jumping about. They had flags that they'd get given by the Kano guys as well, and it was absolutely brilliant. Great atmosphere. They thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, one of the things that I got chatting to Pat, and he'd said that hopefully there may be a surprise for the kids after the game, which was a bit unusual in the sense that we're hoping to meet a player. And there was another group there from Dublin which had travelled over. So the Dublin group they basically had been up early hours of the morning and travelled over with another supporters bus. So I think to reward them, and we were fortunate to be involved at the same time as them, they'd arranged through Tony Stokes' agent for Anthony Stokes to come and meet the kids. So we were taken over to the South Stand after the game. Kids met Anthony Stokes. He got a photograph taken or selfie taken with every single one of them. He spent a lot of time with them. Which was great. It was great to see the look in the kids' faces, meeting a player, one of their idols, and they thoroughly enjoyed it. So as we were leaving, we were just heading out the stadium and we were called back in by some Celtic stewards and didn't realise what it was for. Pat was a wee bit surprised, went back in and we met a procession of the manager and players. It was absolutely fantastic. They met the Ronnie Dahlia, they met Craig Gordon, John Guidetti, Denaya, Johansson, and it really was great. And every single one of those players spent time, they just went in a row, spent time with all those kids. There was about 60 odd kids there in total, all their photographs taken, chanting away. And honestly, the delight in those kids' faces was fantastic. I mean, we left there, the kids were on a high, and the feedback that we got from the parents was that what an experience being at the game, football itself, being part of the crowd at Parkhead, and then meeting the manager and the players after it. They were buzzing for weeks after it, and they all hope to return to Parkhead in the future. Now, I just want to say, as part of the youth club and what that brought to those kids, and not ordinarily would get to a game and experience that, and experience the joy of meeting the manager and the players, but the work that the Kano Foundation does is absolutely fantastic, and I'd like to give them a big thanks on behalf of Dumbarton St Patrick's Youth Club, and I wish them all the best in their future endeavours. And it's one thing that pointed out to me that the Kano Foundation are a true example of the Celtic family. There is nothing else like us anywhere. And that's something that us as Celtic fans and the Kano Foundation, I'm sure, are very proud of.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, 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 tock.
There you go. So that's Barry. That's pretty tall praise from him. That's a fantastic day that his kids have certainly had. So John Paul, if I'm listening to that from a youth club, a church club, or whatever club, what should go in my head? How does the application process work? And what sort of kids should I think of when I think of going along to the Kano Foundation?
The application process is fairly straightforward. The application form is available online. It can either be filled in online or it can be downloaded and filled in sort of just writing it, filling it in that way, and handing it in on match day.
Right.
We have a requirement within the trustees and the volunteers that we are all PVG checked. We're all registered to work with children, and we request that the groups comply with that as well from their own point of view. Anybody can apply. I know we've talked about what would normally be classed as disadvantaged kids, but we have just as important a category of deserving children. We have various groups come along through over the years. A couple of the most poignant groups were a group from Northwest Carers, who are actually children who provide basically respite services for their family. They may have a parent who's ill, and these are the kids that on their way home from school will go and do the shopping and bring the messages in, because there's nobody else to do it.
Yeah, there's no break, no downtime.
These are the kids that will look after their little brothers and sisters, will help get them dressed in the morning, will help put them to bed at night, and these kids don't get a break. And we were really, really fortunate. I can feel the hair standing in my arms talking about it, because it's something that really affected me, because to see these kids who don't really get much of a chance to come along and enjoy it the way they did.
To be kids,
just to enjoy themselves. Another group, and I'm not going to sort of play on the violin strings too much, but there was a little girl whose grandmother had been diagnosed with cancer and had lost her hair as part of her chemotherapy, and she made the decision to shave all her hair off as a fundraising gesture to help her to help raise funds for Macmillan Cancer Trust. And she came along to the stadium with her pals. We invited them along, and she came along almost as bald as you, Richard.
Oh,
sorry. And again, it was a wonderful day, because these kids, they know that they don't set out to do something. They don't. Sometimes it just happens by circumstance that they're in that position. But to be able to not reward, the reward's not, but to be able to acknowledge what they've done, and to be able to say to them, we respect what you've done. It's not much, but it's our way of saying thank you for what you can do, and this is what we can do for them. So that's just as important as children who maybe wouldn't be in a position to attend otherwise. But the bottom line is, anybody can attend, to come along to our games. Absolutely anyone. As Joe said earlier, we don't restrict on race, colour, creed, or
fans,
football club or divisions. Whatever they want to. If anybody wants to come along and be guests of the Kano Foundation, not only are they more than welcome, but we would encourage them to.
We try and work in groups, but we do take ones and twos.
Right, there you go. So you can do that as well. Excellent.
We can take, especially if it's a family unit. Some families that maybe couldn't get along, they're more than welcome to get in touch with us, and if we've got capacity, we can bring them along, and we'll sort of.
Brilliant. Now, Sarah, that application process online through the snazzy website, superbly designed. But if I'm not in that camp, if I'm a fan listening and I want to help, I want to contribute, I want to donate, I can do that there as well?
Yep, so
different options.
It's online as well, just on the website, thekanofoundation.com, and there is a donate page. You can donate through PayPal, or you can donate just through direct bank transfer.
Right.
There's also the opportunity, if you're at the match, just to come up and see us at the top of the Celtic Way.
Fantastic as well. Okay.
So there is numerous ways to donate. We also are doing a £1 a month scheme where you can sign up to pay £1 direct debit every month, and that'll go towards funds that'll help us buy season tickets.
Right.
Sort of for the following years. So our target for that is 1,000. So we're looking to get a grand old team
there you go.
of Kano Foundation supporters.
So even as low as £1 a month,
£1 a month,
fans can help out that listening.
The season tickets are £50, so £1 a month.
Unbelievable.
It actually goes
exactly.
It goes a long, long way.
That's outstanding. There you go. So get on to that website. So Brian, let's look forward to the future then. You mentioned we've got the conference that's coming up, the fan experience. The other clubs that are involved in that, you're not talking about wee piddly teams, are you?
Well, we've got the ex-commercial director of FC Barcelona, We've got Real Madrid. We've got Arsenal. We've got low teams like Leicester, who earn more money than Celtic in the EPL. We've got the commercial director from Croke Park. So there's all sorts of people being there. Yeah.
And you were telling us the person within the Kano that's really been pushing that one.
Yeah, the person that's been in contact with the CX Society is Gillian Lindsay, and she's been making sure that they know what exactly it is that we do and how and what we can bring to the table to give them a different perspective on everything else that they'll find out over the course of those 2 days.
And that is leading on to something else next year as well?
Well, there's a possibility. We'll have to look at that. But there's a possibility that the CX Society have invited us to attend the same type of event in New York. And it's quite funny, the Manhattan Celtic Supporters Club think we're already there because we've been invited to join them.
Oh, superb!
So yeah, it'll be fantastic. Just picking up on one thing, going back to what Sarah was saying about donating. Always remember to tick gift aid if you're a UK taxpayer, because it costs you nothing and it gives us an extra percentage into our funds as well, at no cost to you. Excellent. But it costs Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. What about that?
Perfect. That's it. The perfect people to contribute. Talking about contributions, Joe, two of the nefarious characters that you are aligned to. First of all, we have Jason Higgins from the Homeboys, one of my bosses. If there's a Homeboy show that the Kano Foundation is not mentioned on, I have not heard of it. And also the Homeboys. Do you know what that cost us? But that must be a fortune. A fortune in booze. It's got to be.
I thought it was hair gel as well.
Oh, dearie me, slander. And the other character from the Homeboys, Mr. Paul Larkin, who's done a lot through his Asterix years, 2 or 4 years as well.
He's been amazing. See the amount of people that have had the Asterix years at their supporters club. I know you said that.
Apparently the best one, but I just
I think there's one on Friday. I think it's Friday. There's one
there's one in here as well.
There's one in his final ones at Celtic Park.
Big one, aye.
The amount of people that gave us even half their door money and things like that, it's been phenomenal.
Excellent.
It's phenomenal. The amount of work Paul's done, even Joe's going to be doing a Kano song, I believe.
Yes, now that's it. I never classed Joe as a nefarious character because me and Joe get on. Joe is a man of substance and quality. They're going to be itching to hit me on this one. Unlike Harper and Jason, Joe's a man of class. He's a talented musician, but he's done this song for you, hasn't he?
He's done a song. Joe's actually going to be. He's in the process of composing a Kano theme, Kano song, So I've not heard that one yet.
You've not heard it yet?
We think we're going to get it at our dance.
Oh, no danger.
No
danger.
So hopefully he's going to have a wee catchy tune that the kids can sing along.
Oh, no pressure there, Joe. My goodness. So that dance, John Paul, talk to me. Big annual dinner dance?
Yes.
Where are we going? What date are we talking? What's happening at it?
We're going to the Radisson, 28th of March, 7 for 7:30, champagne reception, along with hopefully the European Cup to have a wee centrepiece for it.
Brilliant.
Tommy Gilmer, one of the other trustees, is responsible for organising the dance, and he's done another sterling job on it. I believe it's sold out in 12 hours this year.
Fantastic.
We're looking at 450 Mad Mental Tims coming along to the Radisson.
Brilliant.
We caught them on the hop a wee bit last year. I don't think they quite expected us to be as thirsty as we turned out to be.
A lot of soft drinks.
And this year we've basically lessons learned from last year. The menu's sorted, the booze is on order, the extra staff are lined up. All that remains is for everyone to come along and have a fantastic night.
Brilliant.
Basically, so that we can say thank you to all the support we've had, not just this year but over the last 5 years.
Sure.
And basically have a right good hoolie just to let those of us that have here, just to let our hair down.
And security has been increased here because, Michael, there's a shambolic table going along.
We've got a table at it, courtesy of help from Jason Higgins. Since he's actually forgot us this year. But Jason managed to get us a table
I actually gave you one of my tables.
It's all coming out.
Jason just got to check after you. There was one of my tables.
And I believe the dinner dance is going to be special visually as well, John Paul, because another nefarious character that we're hooked in with, unfortunately, Mr. John O'Farrell from CelticCanvasArt.com. Apparently he's going to be putting some magical stuff together for you as well.
Yes, yeah, we're really fortunate in the support that we get from various people, but some of John's work is absolutely stunning, and we're really excited to see what he's going to bring along for us.
Yeah, he mentioned pulling out the stocks, didn't he, earlier in the week, so he better come up with the goodies, because he knows there's a lot of pressure on him. Now, we're going to wind you guys up, but Brian, can you give us a kind of look back in the milestones, the big things? What have we achieved? What's the big things that's pushed? How many fans have we dealt with? Is there magic numbers that have been broken?
Yeah, I think we keep on breaking season after season how many kids that we bring through. We've achieved the 3,000 barrier. We're going towards the 4,000 barrier.
Outstanding. And
we're going quickly towards that. And it doesn't matter whether you're number 1 or number 2,999 or number 3,000. All the kids are special.
Yeah.
And they feel special coming through those turnstiles. And the Celtic support make them special because it's the Celtic support that pay for them.
Yeah. Aye, that's it.
Because the money comes from nowhere else.
Yeah.
It's the Celtic support.
We're day backers. Well, every penny comes from sales for us.
Outstanding.
And I must also say the Green Brigade have been fantastic.
Yeah.
See, we've started, they've been absolutely fantastic.
They've made us flags, helped out with banners, done everything for us.
Outstanding.
And obviously they've had the displays for us as well, to celebrate our milestones.
That's right, yeah.
That's good.
It's an amazing connection, the web of different Celtic connections and people and skills and donations and services. It's absolutely phenomenal. So, Sarah, let's wind up by making sure they're going to the right places. Give us your social media queen background. What's the websites? What's the Twitter handle? So it's everything we should know and jump to.
Right, so the website is thekanofoundation.com. You can get us on Twitter, it's just at Kano Foundation.
Yep.
And if you search for the Kano Foundation on Facebook, you'll find the page there as well.
Fantastic. Well, we certainly wish you guys every success in the future. We want to finish up with a wee present from Sonny Carluke. Michael, can you explain what you're unfolding? So the listeners who can only hear us... No, it's not a bottle of water. Stop that. Elsewhere in your bag. Lower down. Go for it.
Joe's aware of this here, probably you guys are as well. At the Hamilton game, a friend of mine plays for Hamilton. Unfortunately, he scored the winner early in the season against us, so I nearly killed him. And I gave him one task on that day, was to get me some for you guys for the dance. And he got me the following, which is the top that Chris Commons actually scored 2 goals in. Right.
Come on.
As Sarah's got a model. So this is the actual top. I had to wash it because it was absolutely right. It was poured on that day. So I'll present that top to John Paul.
Fantastic.
And he also on the day he signed the match programme as well. So that if you work with him with the frame, etc. He also spoke to me afterwards. I met him out the front, and I'd said to him, by the way, look what I've got, and I showed him that, and he was all chuffed, and different things. And he said to me, look, whoever wins it, he'll sign it personally to them.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
You can arrange that for, I don't know when you put that on the night at the dance, whoever wins it on the night, whatever, we'll get that.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Brilliant, there we go. Wee bit of shambolic merchandise.
Yep.
Love it.
We have invited him, but he's not come back to us as yet. But he says at least he'll be there.
Oh, Josh, she certainly will be. Come on. She's at everything, helping out everywhere. Brilliant stuff. Well, thanks a million, guys. We want to wish you every success for your dance. You boys and girls deserve a break, deserve a bit of downtime, wee bit of those soft drinks we were talking about earlier. And then after that, crack the whip, get back onto it, and make sure that empire gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So, from the TikTok special podcast tonight with the Kano Foundation, we have had...
John Paul Gilmartin.
Sarah Davenport.
Brian Ainslie.
Michael.
And Joe Mackin.
Fantastic. And from us all on TikTok, hail, hail.
Hail,
Hail,
hail.
hail, hail.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, 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 tock.
So, here we are, Michael. hurtling back down the M74.
Yes.
At perfectly legal speeds.
As we both looked at the same time.
As we both checked the speedometer, yes. Back to the shambolic town of Carluke. The Kano crew, impressed?
Fantastic. Blown away by the whole charity, the whole foundation, the whole trust thing, you know.
The stories,
the start, the efforts, the background, everything was covered tonight, and the guys all spoke for the heart.
Aye.
You know, there was a right. We talk about the Celtic family, and we've gone about it a lot, which quite rightly we should be.
Yep.
But what the guys have done for the Celtic family to buy into was phenomenal. Guys, you know,
outstanding stuff, and all doing it off their own back.
Yes.
Not getting paid, you know, just taking that time, effort, the cost, the hassle, the expenses, everything, and they're doing it for the love of the club, the love of the whole Kano Foundation idea, the kids. It's amazing.
You know, the home games, they're talking the future of Celtic, these young people, these young kids, and it's not underprivileged, it's people who are deserving as well. You know, it's all backgrounds, and that's what came across really well.
Yep.
It wasn't just like this kid, it's everybody, and anybody can apply for it. And I think meeting them before kick-off in the Celtic way, you seen them and high-fiving them. I have done that. I've seen the group of them, and Brian Collin and I walked up and said, the Kano guys, and they stand at a mile. You know, which is great. And these people, you've got to take a hat off to them, because a lot of these kids will remember it, and like Joe said tonight, you always remember your first match.
That's right.
You know, and perfect.
Outstanding stuff. It was great. It was an honour to listen to them and just be in their company. Can't wish them the best enough, really can't. So you've heard all the chat, you heard the links, you heard everything else from Sarah. Make sure you check out their website, follow them on Twitter, follow them on Facebook, check out those donation buttons, as the guy said. Even as little as £1 a month you can go down to. It's an amazing thing you can do to help, and you'll certainly feel good about it, that's for sure. But Michael, that was a TikTok special to promote the good works of the Kano Foundation. We did that with the blessing of our bosses, Hail Media. The lovely Jason Higgins wanted to promote the guys as much as possible with their big dance coming up. We had the Homeboys extra video cast recently as well, talking about CelticCanvasArt.com and the CSA and stuff.
Yep.
But you've got other news about TikTok in itself.
Well, after the Asterix Years premiere, we ended up a mini pub crawl afterwards, and you know, I need to tell you the background to it. We ended up in Malone's Irish Bar, the new one in Sauchiehall Lane, and it was great. And you know, it's like Celtic fans talk to each other, how you doing, where are you from? And one of the guys said to me, Chris, 1888, where are you guys from? I says, Carluke. And he started singing, tick tock, tick tock. You know, the home of true Celtic fans and all this kind of stuff. And he started impersonating and all this here, and I thought it was amazing. And he says, why have you stopped it? Why is it not coming back? We miss it. You know, and that hit back to me that we have got a lot of people that have been on the panels over the past so many years, couple of years doing it.
Yep.
And Chris had said to me, you need to bring it back. Then we met up with Celtic Boys 73, me and for Harrington.
The Haddington 2.
The Harrington 2.
The posh and Becks of the East Coast.
Correct. And he says, when you coming through Harrington to do a podcast?
And what biscuits are you bringing?
And his custard creams. And I know you'll be listening to us here, Celtic Boys 73, you know, but we would like to resurrect TikTok. Either be in some capacity where it's TikTok on tour, TikTok on the road, or we have our own TikTok back in Carluke, the Shambolic.
So we'll do the normal panels as well,
you know,
just as normal in Carluke, but you're saying TikTok on tour as well.
Aye.
So if you're a fan, if you're in a club, if you're whatever, you're in what you saying geographically, Central Scotland, that kind of thing.
You know, we're talking about going down to Harrington. Celtic Boys said to us about maybe meeting in Edinburgh at a pub.
Yep.
And just getting a pub, and we'll do it, you know, in one of the function rooms or something like that.
Yep.
And the good thing about Edinburgh, we've got a connection with Edinburgh with Big Doogie.
So we have.
With Edinburgh number 1 bus, etc.
Perfect.
These guys, the Leaf bus as well.
Grab these characters.
Martin and the guys up there, and they guys have said they're more welcome to come on the podcast. So I think it's good to spread the word and get some feedback from other parts of the country.
Other ideas, other views, other opinions.
We do spend a lot in the west of Scotland, but it's good to go elsewhere.
Aye, totally.
And the good thing about this is a lot of these guys come and support our functions as well, so we get to see them there. But to go to their place and do it, it might be a case where maybe get through to Hearts, Hibs get brought up next season.
Aye.
You know, we'll maybe do it after a game.
That kind of thing.
Like, you know, we could do that.
Try and arrange it at a suitable time.
Exactly.
Excellent. So if you're listening and you fancy it, oh no, it's a podcast. Oh no, I'm getting recorded. No. It's an absolute doddle. You sit around a table, you have a drink if you fancy it, and you just talk Celtic. Your favourite players, the last game, the next game, your ideas, your opinions. You know what it's like. As soon as you start talking to your pal and he says it shouldn't have been a free kick and you said it should have been, and all the arguments start. That's exactly what we do.
Yes.
Do it around the table in Carluke, and we'll do that when we can, maybe once a month, once every 3 weeks, whatever, that kind of thing. But we want to do this as well. We want to go on tour. We want to come and meet you guys, get different ideas. So you might be a family, you might be a group of pals, you might be a supporters club, whatever. Get in touch, carlukeshamrock.com. You can follow us on Twitter and get in touch at Carluke Shamrock, or just drop us an email, mail@carlukeshamrock.com, whatever you fancy. Get in touch, give us your contact details, tell us where you are roughly, and we'll start to try and pin down a date. So there you go, the scourge of Hail Media. We are coming back.
Yes.
The boss, Harper, is going to be in a panic mode for this.
Bring it on.
Hail!
I want to see the most is the Glasgow Celtic score. I've been to Munich, been to Paris and Berlin. I watched injustice fall upon you in Turin, and I've shared the pain and glory with the friends that I have made as I dance from place to place in green and white on a worldwide tin parade.